Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Grand Sports Center. It is a Wednesday, the midweek edition of the program, and it's always good to be here with you. We have a lot lined up for today, and so much on a very good note. The Golden Eaglets have made us smile, at least even if some people say they got the qualification through the back door, but then get the semi-finals. So that will be our first issue we shall be discussing on the program today. I'm talking about the Golden Eaglets who have qualified for the semi-finals of the WAFU Under-17 Zombie Championship taking place in Lome. Also, the Nigerian Nationwide League is working to improve the capacity of coaches in the league as they have signed an MOU with a football coaching clinic provider, and that will see that company go around the 6 geopolitical zone conducting coaching clinics for coaches at that level of football. Nigerian Professional Football League, the MPFL enters week 4 today. Some very interesting fixtures. Plateau United, defending champions who got back to winning ways with trainers spanking of Atlant last weekend, will be taking on Canopilla. That's the top of the bill amongst the fixtures. Which I'll be looking at the fixtures. Contract for the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury heavyweight boxing fight. It said that by in 2 weeks' time, that contract will be signed. That is coming from Bob Arum, the promoter of Tyson Fury. So in the next 2 weeks, we should see that contract signed, and it will be good to go for that match. 10 Olympic slots are up for grabs at the Champions of Champions Wrestling Championship, which is taking place in Bayelsa. That championship will start on Friday, the 15th of this month, and wrestlers have opportunity of picking Olympic slots should they do well in that competition. That's coming from the president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali. Ex-international Eti Mason has called for the overall of the Nigerian Football Federation scouting mechanism in the national team. Eti Mason, former Nigerian player, says ex-international should be brought in to act as scouts so that better players will be discovered to represent Nigeria at various levels of national team football. We shall be talking about that. Also, Manchester United have gone top of the English Premier League table. I think this is the first time since 2013 that they are top of the table, and this is a very big achievement for Manchester United, given their problems in recent times. But then they have a match against defending champions Liverpool on Sunday, so we shall be looking at the implication of Man United once again topping the English Premier League table. In tennis, John Isner has pulled out of the Australian Open, and he says because of COVID-19 concerns, the restrictions put in place by the state of Victoria where that competition will hold would mean that he will be away from his family for a long time, and he doesn't want that. So John Isner has pulled out. He's an American, 25th in the world, and one of the top players that has pulled out already. It remains to be seen what happens to that tournament, because players are expected to start arriving in Victoria from this week, and to have the mandatory 2 weeks quarantine before they start training. Well, we shall be talking about all this and many more on the program, plus Super Eagles Watch, where we'll keep close tabs on the performance of Super Eagles players for their various clubs in Europe. I am Donald Agbaboba. I'm joined as usual by Austin Arume. Austin, it's good to have you.
So it's my pleasure to be here.
And Blessing Bassi, maintaining our position because she came back from injury layoff yesterday. Now she's not a mainstay in the team. Well, it's good to have you, Blessing.
Good to be here.
Well, we hope to serve you the very best of sports on the program, so sit back and relax. We'll take a short break. Where we'll return, we'll go straight to the main issues of the day. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and this is good news. Golden Eaglets, well, at some point, some of us actually had given up hope that the Eaglets were going to get that ticket to the semi-finals, given the precarious situation they were in. They drew against Ghana, having lost to Cote d'Ivoire. And they were depending on the match, on the outcome of the match between Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, putting your faith in somebody else's hand. But, well, Cote d'Ivoire did us a very big favor. Is that the right word to use for it?
Yeah, I think it's the right word to use for it because if you look at the game, Cote d'Ivoire were in a situation where they had nothing at stake in that game. They were already through, by virtue of beating Nigeria, in the first match for Nigeria. But then they actually put in their best to make sure, they actually win that game, which is why Nigeria is through to the next round of the competition. So we can say that the Ivorian side, actually did us a favor in this particular encounter.
And the result of the match, 3-1, not just 1-0, 2-0. They scored 3 goals. Where did the motivation come from for the Ivorians? Because having already qualified, one would have expected them to have maybe fielded a weekend team, but it's like they went full throttle against Ghana.
Yeah, that's to show you how much, more to expect from the Ivorians team, judging by the fact that the Super Eagles, the Golden Eaglet, I beg your pardon, really, have to qualify if Ivorians, beat Ghana. And I think, part of that made, contributed to the fact that the Ivorians, probably did the Golden Eaglet a favor, by going all out against Ghana and giving them as much as 3-1 in that game.
Yes, indeed. And now the stage is set for the semi-final. Nigeria plays Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire plays Niger. And, well, another opportunity for the Eaglets to redeem themselves, given the fact that they practically just scraped through to this stage.
Yeah, that's the most interesting thing about playing in a tournament. At times a team can start so badly and, end up winning the competition. So I want the Golden Eaglet at this point in time, to actually learn from their mistake. They can learn 1 or 2 things from the past mistake and, use that moving forward. But then for the Ivorian side, I believe they want to win this tournament and, they've started strongly. But then playing against Burkina Faso right now, we're playing against a team who topped, against a team that topped, the other group. So it's not going to be easy for them. But then I just wish them the best of luck. Let them go out there and do Nigerians proud.
Yes, but indeed, talking about the team that topped the other group, Burkina Faso, we also know that they are in this stage also because Togo was disqualified. Togo had actually beaten Burkina Faso and Niger. They were actually topping that group. So we would have been meeting Togo instead, the host team. So could we say that this is kind of another blessing in disguise? These Golden Eaglet teams, although they did not play the match, but then Burkina Faso compared to Togo, who seem to have a good team and host, this we can say is a better draw for the Eaglets. Can we actually say that?
Well, we can't actually conclude at this point because Burkina Faso is also a good team, judging by the fact that they are also topping their group A. Obviously, they so far so good. They've been able to invest in their youth team. We see Burkina Faso, in this competition, and Ivory Coast obviously going so far, judging by their performance in this WAFU Beyond 17 competition. So I think we basically have to, support the Golden Eaglet at this point, try to give them that motivation going into their semi-final game against Burkina Faso, because trust me, Burkina Faso is really a good team.
And should the Eagles emerge victorious against Burkina Faso and now have to meet Cote d'Ivoire in the finals, would you and the table and the Eagles win the competition? Hope the Ivorians will not regret spanking Ghana. Because practically, it was Eagles qualification.
Yeah, they practically, pulled, the Golden Eaglet through to the next round of the competition. But then when we get to meet them again, it's not going to be a case of you helped us pull through to the next round of the competition. It's going to be a case of winner takes all, and that's what is going to play out on the mind of the players. But then we've seen that happen before, whereby a team will struggle, in the beginning of a tournament, and they'll end up winning the team. I take example from the 2013, the Super Eagles winning the Nations Cup. In 2013, I think our first two games we drew, our first two games, and we had to use the last game to qualify to the next round. And eventually, we're winners of the African
by our
Nations
own
Cup.
effort, not by the effort of another team. It's a different blessing.
Qualification is qualification.
And that, the Super Eagles had their faith in their hands, and they were able to qualify. But in this situation, people didn't have their faith in their hand, and they had to. But anyway, we are very happy that they made it through, because at some point by yesterday, some of us had already given up hope. But it's good to know that Cote d'Ivoire were able to beat Ghana, and so the Golden Eaglets have another opportunity to redeem themselves. They should also have in the back of the mind that they've not won any match in this competition. So if at all anything should motivate them against Burkina Faso, it should be the fact that let us win one match. And if they win that match, and the match happens to be the semi-final match against Burkina Faso, it means that they are through to the final and through to the African Under-17 Championship, which will take place in Morocco later in the year. So much about the Golden Eaglets. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we shall be talking about the Nigerian National League 1, which is the amateur cadre of the Nigerian League. It's the third tier of Nigerian League football, and the organizers are doing a lot to improve the capacity of the coaches at that level. Most of the coaches at that level of football actually are very young and in the game, and some of them actually have little or no experience at all of coaching. So the Nigerian National League, the NNL, is organizing a coaching clinic for the coaches across the six geopolitical zones of the country, and they signed an MOU with a coaching clinic provider. Talking about an organization that does coaching clinic, and that event will start on the 15th of this month around the six geopolitical zones of the country. The MOU was signed yesterday. We should be talking about that, the implication of this for teams in the Nigerian National League, nationwide league, so to speak. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about that. Still the Grand Sports Center, and next on the agenda is the Nigerian Nationwide League, and like I said earlier, a memorandum of understanding has been signed that will see coaching clinic being conducted for coaches in the league. And Austin, at that level of football, some of these coaches are very raw coaches. Some of them have little or no coaching qualification because they are very amateur teams. And some of them basically representing villages and communities. Yeah. But that's the beauty of the game at that level. Yeah. Over 100 teams playing in that league. That's the biggest league in Nigeria. Yeah. Yes. So, and we have coaches at that level that have little or no qualifications, and now they have the opportunity of hearing from top level coaches, teaching them rudiments of the game, which they can pass on to their players. How good is this?
I think it's a good one. I think we're lamenting yesterday about developing our grassroots football, because bulk of these people actually represent the Golden Eaglet and the Flying Eagles, and this is a good step in the right direction. I think they are acting right at the right time, because if you look at the amateur league, basically it's like they've been left on their own to cater for their own needs, and it's something I believe we can work towards, and we can achieve that, to have a strong League One league, the nationwide league that is very strong, that can actually help build these young guys, build these young coaches, and they can actually turn out to be one of the best coaches that Nigeria has ever had.
Yes, indeed, blessing. This kind of experience for these young coaches. Some of them, like I said earlier, have no paper qualifications, but they are there based on their association with the game over the years. So, and like I told you, like we said also, most of these teams represent villages and communities. So you just get somebody to handle these teams. And now they're going to hear from coaches like Adebo Yonibide, Kashima Wolaloko, highly rated coaches and thereabouts. So what kind of experience, how far do you think this experience can go in terms of actually gendering these coaches towards better performance?
Yeah, I obviously think that this will go pretty far if there's proper planning in place and proper planning and a good structure in place, you know, considering the fact that, you know, there's a calendar and there's a plan, a work plan on ground, you know, being followed strictly. You know, I feel like this, like we were talking about all through the week, grassroots football is basic. You know, the fact that coaches will be groomed, players will be groomed is a step in the right direction. You know, most of these, you know, people basically it will help, especially in terms of welfare packages, because some of these coaches and players basically depends on the Nigerian the football governing body in terms of what they eat, you know.
Exactly. And some of them basically don't have, they can't afford to attend coaching courses to develop themselves the more. So bringing this kind of thing to their doorstep, we must actually commend the management of the Nigerian Football Federation and also the Nigerian Nationwide League.
Yeah, I think we have to commend them because the Nigerian National League, one, is actually the future of, you know, our football, and if we must develop our football, I think we have to start from there. It's a good one, and I must commend them for the organization.
Yes, indeed, and we hope that as it is planned to go around the 6 geopolitical zone, so it will be, so that everybody across the length and breadth of the country at that level of football we have the opportunity of learning and get to have a new experience and experience a new way of doing the thing better, which is also for the good of the game in the country. Like Blessing and Austin have expressed, that is the bedrock of development of football in the country. And once we get it right at that level, of which the coaches play a very important role, then we can say that our football will be better for it. We'll take another break, and when we return, we shall be looking at the Nigerian Professional Football League, which is the top league in the country, as matches enter week 4 today. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center. Next on the menu is the Nigerian Professional Football League. It enters week 4 today, and like we said at the weekend and on Monday, when we were analyzing the matches of the weekend, it is becoming very, very exciting. So much goals were scored last weekend, and we're looking to that trend continuing as we enter week 4 today. Very interesting matches. We have Adamawa United taking on Nasarawa United. Kano Pillars will be at home to Plateau United, who are defending champions. Atland of Owerri will entertain Eyimba. Wiki Tourists will host Rivers United. Kwara United will be up against Aqua United. Abia Warriors plays Jigawa Golden Stars. Rangers International versus FC Fayuba. Dakada will host MFM. White Sunshine Stars and Lobby Stars will slug it out in Akure. Warri Wolves will be at home to Katsina United. Well, Austin, these fixtures, the talk of Kano Pillars Plateau United as the top fixture is looking like that's the top fixture for for this weekend, for this midweek matches. And Kano Pillars, as you know, have not lost this season. They've won 2 matches and they've drawn 1, and they're doing very well. Plateau United have lost 1, drawn 1, and won 1. So they only won their first match last week when they beat Atlant by 3-0.
Yeah.
And now, so you can see that these 2 teams are in good form at the moment.
Yeah. I think for Plateau United, they want to keep their form going. You know, they won their first game of the season the last time out. They're going to play against Kano Pillars. You know, and a lot have been said about Plateau United, and you know, the management deciding to deduct, you know, wages, you know, placing the player on half salary, and even as much as I don't support that, I think it's beginning to work for them. The Plateau United and Kano Pillars game, why it's going to be, you know, the fixture of the round is the fact that, you know, Plateau United at this point in time might not want to back out. You know, winning their first game, they want to build on that momentum.
And just like their striker said, also Charles Enlong said, they want to consolidate on the trend that they've started with the victory over Atlant last weekend. Yes. I'm talking about Atlant itself. They've not won any match. They've not drawn any match. They have 0 points, and they take on Eyimba, who are still ruining the fact that they have been eliminated from the CAF Champions League, though they'll play in the Confederations Cup. Yeah. But then they've won 2 out of 2 of the 2 matches they've played, and they go to Owerri to play Eyimba. How interesting is this blessing?
Yes, considering the fact that Atlant have not, you know, won any of their games, is so obvious that Eyimba, you know, have an upper edge.
And again, let me just add this: they were paid their 2 month salaries that were being owed last weekend, but I guess the salaries came a bit late. They were already on their way to Jos, so it was not enough to motivate them in Jos, so they lost 3-0. So do you think that now that all their outstanding salaries have been settled, now Eyimba will be their first victim?
Oh wow! Well, if that's enough to, you know, to do pretty well against Eyimba, fine. But obviously, I think looking at this welfare package thing, I think they should.
Very important.
It's very important, because it obviously motivates, you know, players to do well against their opponents. But let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, indeed. We always do that. Rivers United, the table-topping team, the only side that has won 3 matches. They have 9 points, and they will be going to Bauchi to play Wiki Tourist. And this one may be their real first test.
Yeah, I think Wiki Tourist, Rivers United, is going to be a tricky one for Rivers United. You know, it's going to be a test of their character, how well they'll perform this season. You know, this match will actually give us a kind of hint, you know, as to how well Rivers United will do in the league this season.
When Nasarawa United dropped their first points last week, when Kano Pillars held them to a 1-1 draw in Lafia, before then they had won their first 2 matches. They went away to beat Atlant in week 2. But Kano Pillars held them to a draw last week. So they dropped their first point, but they're still there among the top teams. They go to Adamawa to play against Adamawa United. Do you see them bouncing back to winning ways?
Yeah, I see them bouncing back, because Nasarawa United obviously has been, you know, have obviously been informed, you know, especially we saw them even pre-season and when the season started fully. So them dropping points, you know, recently, I obviously think that they'll bounce back, you know, with their game against their game they're going to play.
Adamawa United, you mean?
United,
yeah,
yes.
Kwara United is another team that has started very well. They beat Plateau United in their first match away in Jos, and but they lost to Eyimba last week by 1-0. So they've played so far. They've played 2 matches. Like because of contender engagement, one of their matches. They were supposed to play against one of the teams playing on the continent, so they played 2 matches. So the 2 matches they played have been away matches. Yeah. This is their first match at home. They are going to play against Aqua United at home. Yeah. They've won 1 away and lost 1 away. So now they are playing at home against Aqua United. Is this an opportunity for them to get back to winning ways? Yeah,
it's an opportunity for them. But then Aqua United, they've shown that, you know, they are no pushovers. If you look at the league right now, Aqua United, they're one of the top teams. You know, they have the players to back it up. But, you know, going away to Quara United, who have started strongly this season, you know, 2 away games, you know, 3 points, 3 points out of 6 points from 2 away matches. I think it's a strong start for Quara United, and they've made quite a statement. But then this Aqua United game is going to be a tricky one for them. So I think a draw would probably, you know, settle the game.
Abia Warriors have lost 2 matches, and they are playing at home to Jigawa Golden Stars. Coach Mama Pabo, who used to be with Rangers, won the league with Rangers, he was at one point coach of the Nigerian under-23 team, assistant coach of Genetra. He's now with Abia Warriors, but he has not had a very good start. But we know his capabilities, having won the Nigerian league in the past. He has lost the first 2 matches. Now he's playing at home to Jigawa Golden Stars.
Well, they should probably use their home advantage for to win against Jigawa Golden Stars, because Abia Warriors have not been informed this season. So having a coach or not having a coach at this point, you know, everything determines on the fact that a team performs pretty well, you know, and also fights towards, you know, being title contenders, or, you know, getting towards the top 4. But Abia Warriors are really down on the table, and they really need to do, you know, come up and do perform very well in their game.
And in Jigawa Golden Stars, they have an opportunity
yes,
to actually get that first 3 points in the season.
Anyway,
Rangers International too, they are doing very well. And that team that started very well, and they play against SC Ifeanyi. SC Ifeanyi lost at home to Dakada last week, and they are going away to Rangers, who are in very good form. The Rangers have won 2 and drawn 1 as well.
Yeah, and I think it's all about the experience of the coach at Rangers. Salisu, who was former Salisu Yusuf, the former coach of the home-based Super Eagles, and you know, we know he knows the league too well, and you know, his appointment, I think, has been beneficial to the form of Enugu Rangers this season. But then Ifeanyi, they had the opportunity of actually getting 3 points from Dakada FC, but then they couldn't, because
I'm talking about Dakada.
Yeah,
Dakada, they are the surprise team of this season. I think they've won 2 matches and lost 1 and drawn 1, and they are, in fact, they are supposed to be a feeder team to Aqua United, but they seem to be taking the shine. They play against MFM at home.
Well, those are 2, should I say, 2 good teams. Yeah. Yes, and Dakada especially has been doing pretty well, especially this season so far. So I think it's going to be a very interesting match.
Yes, indeed. And Sunshine Stars, who lost to MFM last week in Lagos, have opportunity to bounce back as they host Lobby Stars. Lobby Stars are one of the teams that scored 3 goals last weekend.
Yeah. And this particular encounter is going to be a tricky one. You know, Lobby Stars on the back of that impressive 3-0 win over Wally Wolves.
Yeah.
They want to prove a point, you know, that they are there, that they can rub shoulders with the big boys. And I believe the form of Sunshine Stars this season, they've not been all convincing, and you know, Lobby Stars might want to take advantage of that. And I don't know, it's going to be a thrilling encounter, an exciting one.
That could go either way.
Yeah, it could go either way.
And finally, the last match for this midweek, Wari Wolves, who are still smarting from their 3-0 loss to Lobby Stars last weekend in Makurdi, are at home to Katsina United. Katsina United themselves too have not done too badly. They've won 2 matches and lost 1. I think they won last week against Damar United. They have a very Herculean task in Wari against Wari Wolves.
Yeah, like you said, Herculean task. So I feel like they need to put in more effort, especially when it comes to, you know, going very far in the league. So it's going to be an interesting game. So I feel, you know, there are 2 good teams who would obviously, you know, play it out at the end of the day.
Yes, indeed. And those are the fixtures for week 4 of the Nigerian Professional Football League. And just to add to it, Rivers United's match against Bloemfontein Celtic in the CAF Confederations Cup has been confirmed for the 22nd for the weekend of the 22nd to 24th of this month in Cotonou. And Coach Stanley Guma is already saying that whether it's played in Benin or in Port Harcourt, it doesn't make any difference, that they are going to complete the job they started when they won 2-0 in South Africa.
Yeah, I think Rivers United this season, they are riding high, and the confidence in the team right now is like on another level, and I believe down to the fact that they actually won away from home in South Africa at the home of Bloemfontein Celtic. They still have that belief that they can still do it irrespective of the venue, and I'm still rooting for them. They have the advantage, and everything is going well for them at this point. So I just wish them the best of luck.
I had this question yesterday: is Bloemfontein Celtic smelling a chance now that it's being played on a neutral venue? If after the first leg match, which they lost 2-0 at home, they are giving up hope, the fact that this second leg match is going to play in a neutral venue, do they smell any chance or possibility of qualifying?
Well, if you'd ask me, I kind of feel that there's a bit of politics in this whole, the fact that it was not played because of travel bans. I mean,
No, it has to do with the fact that they could not meet up with the requirements placed by the Nigerian government, talking about the COVID-19 restrictions in place by the Nigerian government. So they were not allowed into Nigeria because they could not meet up with the requirements. So that's why it had to be played in the neutral venue.
Well, I see them. I smell a possibility of Celtic having an opportunity in that game, but at the same time, I have more confidence in Rivers United, judging by their performance so far, and I think they will do pretty well against Bloemfontein Celtic, no matter the place,
venue.
yes, the venue they play their game.
Yes, indeed. We wish Rivers United well, and we know that they're a very good side. They top the Nigerian Professional Football League with 9 points, and they've already shown us that they can play football. So, like they said, like Stanley Guma said, whether in Port Harcourt or Benin, they will still be able to get the result. Wish them the best. We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll talk boxing, where there's a green light or a light at the end of the tunnel finally concerning this all-important match that the whole world is looking forward to, the heavyweight boxing fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Bob Arum, the promoter of Tyson Fury, says the way things are going in the next 2 weeks, that contract will be signed. We shall be talking about that after the short break. Welcome back, and moving on the Grand Sports Center, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. The name, the fight everybody is talking about, the fight the entire world wants to see. Finally, for the first time, we are getting some concrete assurance that that fight will hold, and we have a tentative date or tentative time when that contract will be signed, as the promoter of Tyson Fury, Bob Arum, has said. In the next 2 weeks, everything concerning negotiations would have been concluded, and both boxers, both camps will put pen to paper. Austin Arume, can we say finally this fight is sure of holding?
I think we can say we have a glimmer of hope, because in the world of sports, the possibilities are endless. Anything can happen. It could be a last-minute change, but then coming from the promoter, Bob Arum, I believe they've done their homework, and they're close to actually signing that dotted line.
And of course, he's also talking about likely venues. He said they're talking to a number of proposed that they have proposals from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai. That's the Qatar and Dubai, for also Singapore as well, and China. So you can imagine everybody jostling to host this fight. Everybody wants to host the fight, just like it happened in '74 when the Muhammad Ali John Foreman fight was taken to Zaire, when the former ruler of Zaire, Mobutu Sese Seko, bankrolled it. And this is like a similar situation. The whole world wants to come. Everybody, the way things are going, it may likely go to the highest bidder, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely go to the highest bidder. Though, you know, obviously money is involved, you know, in this whole thing, you know, and the all expected fights, the mandatory fight that everyone looks forward to, you know, the fact that they want it to hold as speedy as possible. You know, I just feel that once there's a bidder at the end of the day, you know, and everything is obviously settled at the end of the day, I think there should, you know, be need for, they should, you know, make provisions for at least fans can come in one way or the other, no matter how small.
That's another issue, because the way things are, the way with the coronavirus pandemic, this much talked about fight may end up not having spectators.
Yeah, I think whichever way, you know, the match is being staged, I think a lot of people will still watch it. You know, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury is that match that a lot of people are looking forward to. So any which way, you know, we'll still watch it. But then without the fans in the arena, I think it's going to take that it's going to take away that shine, you know, a little bit, you know, from that for that fight.
Yes, and of course they still have the issue of Alexander Usyk, who is still claiming to be the #1 contender for the WBO, and they're already talking of various scenarios. First, talking with Alexander Usyk, get him to stand down, or actually forfeiting WBO belt so that it's not part of the belts that will be up for grabs. But then what the world wants to say is a unification of all the belts that would actually add to the intrigues and all the fanfare and surrounding the match. So the Alexander Usyk issue, not forgetting Deontay Wilder, who is still locked in the court case with Tyson Fury. So, but with Babaram saying the contract was signed in 2 weeks, it's obvious that all these other issues that they have to be settled will definitely they will definitely find a way around it, right?
Yeah, sure. I believe so too. I think they'll definitely find a way around it. But I want to feel that this big fight will, you know, should hold first, then every other things follows. Usyk fight is going to hold, yes, but the most expected fight, which is the Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight, is what we've been expecting and, you know, looking forward to. So I feel, you know, things will take its shapes with time.
Well, Babaram has already said it, that they must find a solution to it, which means, come what may, this fight will hold. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. This is good news for the world, and this is something that the world is looking forward to this year. So much lined up 2021. Now, 2021 suddenly has become the year of many things, because a lot of events were shifted from 2020 to 2021. So 2021 is now jam-packed and loaded with a lot of sporting activities to look forward to, from the Olympics to the Euro 20 to Euro Championships, and of course this big fight, this big boxing fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. We'll talk more about combat sports, this time wrestling, where we understand that the Champions of Champions competition will be taking place in Bayelsa State, and 10 Olympic slots will be up for grabs in that competition. The president of Nigerian Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, says athletes or wrestlers have opportunity of picking Olympic tickets to compete in the Olympics should they depend on their performance in the competition. The champions is called the Champions of Champions, and to take place in Bayelsa State beginning from the 15th, which is Friday. We shall be talking about that when we return from the short break. Center, and moving on, the Champions of Champions Wrestling competition takes place in Bayelsa State, and wrestlers. This is given the fact that because of COVID-19, we understand that many competitions, qualifying tournaments for the Olympics. Many wrestlers could not attend, but this is an opportunity for our wrestlers to get the necessary points that will qualify them for the Olympics should they do very well in this championship. How good is this?
I think it's a good one. At this point in time, we're having, we have qualification, to qualify for the Olympics, right here in our own backyard. I think it gives, our wrestlers that opportunity to actually take part in it. But, one thing about Nigerian wrestling is that, at every Olympic, we always have a chance of winning, at least a medal from that wrestling competition. So it's a good one that we have our athletes actually competing for a place in the Olympics.
Yes, indeed. As it stands presently, only one Nigerian wrestler has qualified for the Olympics, Odunayo Adekuroye. So it means that should our athletes not do very well, our wrestlers don't do well in this competition, we may just be having just one wrestler competing in the Olympics. So how important is it that these wrestlers get it right? Because the last time they actually had any competition was about a year ago when they featured in the 2020 African Senior Wrestling Championship in August. That was before the pandemic started. So that was almost about a year ago. And so they've been out of action for almost a year. And how good is it for them to actually be to actually get it right in this competition?
I think they can get it right in this competition, because I want to believe that when it comes to the wrestling, Nigerian Wrestling Federation building talents, they have lots of talents to groom out of that, in respect of the Olympics. I can remember back then when wrestling was in Nigeria, had those beautiful talents that perform, go for international competitions and bring laurels back to Nigeria. I think this, based on the basic provisions on ground, I think it will obviously spur them up and talents will be groomed from the competition.
Yes, indeed. In the president of the federation, Daniel Igali, they can have a better motivation. He competed for Canada. He actually left the country for some time, and he competed for Canada, won gold in the Olympics. So he's an Olympian, an Olympic gold medalist, and so when he's talking at this level, he knows what he's saying. And how good actually is it to have a Daniel Igali at the Aim of Affairs of our Wrestling Federation? We cannot rule out the fact that since he came on board, Nigerian wrestling has actually done very well. The last All-African Games, wrestling accounted for a large number of the gold medals Nigeria won that made Nigeria top the medals table at the end of that games.
Yeah, I think I must commend Daniel Igali. He's doing a good job, bringing all these guys together, organizing tournaments here and there. And I think it's beginning to pay off, and it will pay off at the end of the day if eventually Nigeria actually wins a medal, from wrestling in the Olympics. Or having it at the back of our mind that, in recent times, Nigeria has not been performing well in the Olympics. It's been, poor showing so far. But then we're beginning to see hopes, especially from, the Nigerian Wrestling Federation.
Yes, indeed. We wish them the very best. We pray that the athletes actually get it right. And of those 10 Olympic slots up for grabs, Nigeria will get all 10. That's our hope. And we are looking forward with great interest to the competition. It starts on Friday in Bayelsa State. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we shall be talking about football, talking about the call by Eti Messin for the overhaul of the scouting mechanism of the NFF to allow for better talents to be invited to the national team. We shall be looking at this and also other issues that we have time for, because we're gradually running out of time. So we'll take that break now. Welcome back, and moving on, Eti Messin, you remember him, former Nigeria International. We call him, you can remember him for different things, but we choose to remember him for his prowess on the field of play. One of the best talents to ever come out of this country, to footballing talent, and he's talking. He says the scouting mechanism of Nigerian Football Federation should be overhauled to allow more ex-internationals take charge of it, because they will be able to identify talents that will be that can win laurels, that can actually represent the country very, very well in our various national teams. How true is Etimeson's statement? How necessary is it?
I think it's very, very necessary, because these guys, they are Nigerians. They played at the highest level, and it will interest you to know that they say as a player, if you played up to a certain level, you are allowed to skip some classes in the coaching school. You can start ahead of some other people who don't have that privilege of playing at that level. So I believe if we can actually have these guys working as scouts for Nigeria, I think it will do us more good.
But presently, do we even have people working for scout? The only person we know of is the guy that works with Tunde Adelekun, who happens to be the person we understand goes around talking to Nigerian players. We've never known him to be a footballer, but he don't but again, you may not have actually played the game. But then, if you have this good relationship with players, how to talk players into it, you will. But then we know that a player seeing an ex-player talk to him, because I'm talking in fact in view of the fact that we've been trying to get many of these young players that were born in England to play for us. We've lost many already to England. Bukayo Saka is a case in point. Many people feel that if the likes of Okocha and Odise were the ones involved in the negotiations and trying to get these players working on behalf of the Nigerian Football Federation, probably would have had a better result. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe so. Etim is one of many, Nigerians who have obviously come out to speak, because I know they have been talking, but at the same time, I feel that this, like Austin said, they have this experience. If they were in it before, and they obviously know which player is. They obviously understand the rudiments of the game of football.
And they'll be able to actually tell these players what they stand to gain and benefit from playing from the national team. Well, we would have dwelt more on this, but because we're running out of time, the English Premier League is very much on. Matches were played yesterday. Sheffield United beat Newcastle 1-0. They won their first match of the season. Well, can we see a turnaround for Sheffield United the second round of the league?
I think I'll say congratulations to Sheffield United. Finally, in over 20 matches, this is the first win this season. I see a turnaround. I think for Sheffield United, I think this is just about it for them. I can see them winning some more points as time goes on.
And Manchester United finally are topping the English Premier League once again after a long time. How long do you think they can remain there? They play Liverpool on Sunday, and a loss will bring them back down.
Well, their game against who did they play with? Yes, their game against Burnley, must have helped motivate them. Would motivate them ahead of their game against Liverpool. I mean, they're topping the group now. Kudos to.
You see them remaining there?
I really can't say for now.
For now, exactly, because this season is so unpredictable. Everton also had a good result. They went away to the Molineux to beat Wolves. That's not an easy place to go and win.
I think Everton, their form this season has been impressive, and I think Carlo Ancelotti is doing a good job. And our own Alex Iwobi actually is doing well under the management of Ancelotti.
In Spanish La Liga also, we had some matches played yesterday. We had Granada beat Osasuna 2-0, so they bounced back from their 3-1 loss to Barcelona at the weekend, and then they beat Osasuna 2-0. Atletico Madrid beat Sevilla 2-0. Atletico Madrid, they are topping the league. They are beating Sevilla, another top team in the league, telling you that this season they mean business, right?
Yeah, Atletico Madrid really mean business. Topping against clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona. Yes, Barcelona, with a very good margin at this point. It shows how much they are in form this season?
For me, I would say they have smelt blood, so they are going for it now. You know, Madrid and Barcelona started poorly, and they took advantage. This opportunity for us before they catch us. So I guess that is what they are doing, and I must tell you that I will not be surprised if they go all the way this season. We have kind of run out of time in the program. Not time to talk much. Just to give you some bit of highlights. We understand that Lionel Messi is set to leave Barcelona at the end of the season. No longer news, everybody knows that. But then he's set to get a very good cash windfall. He will be paid about $39 million. It's part of the contract. It's actually supposed to be paid about $100 million when he leaves. But then it's been broken down into 4 installments. So the first installment will come at the end of the season when if he eventually leaves, though, we'll get $39 million. Well, these players, for just leaving, somebody is supposed to be leaving at the end of his contract and still getting that kind of windfall. That's a very big one. John Isner, the American tennis player, has pulled out of the Australian Open. He says the long protocol period that's put in place in Australia, the city of Victoria, in Australia, means that he will be away from his family for a long time. He's not ready to stay that long away from his family, so he's pulling out. We just hope that this will be the last of the big players that will pull out. He's actually not been in top form in recent times due to injury. He's now ranked 25th in the world, and he's the highest ranked American player. For me, that is the major attraction. No American from number 1 to 25 in the world tennis. Is that not a big surprise?
I think
this is a sport Americans have dominated in the past.
Yeah, and it's not only happening in tennis; it's happening in other sports as well. And I think the standard of American sports is beginning to drop, and they need to do something really fast.
Seriously, then in Formula One, we understand that the Australian Grand Prix and the Chinese Grand Prix, who are supposed to be the first major events of the year, have been postponed, which means that the calendar will now be nobody from the one calendar will now be starting much later than expected because of COVID-19 again. Yeah,
COVID-19 is here. We just have to live with it, and it's affecting not just Formula One, every other sport.
And for Super Eagles Watch for today, as we wrap up on the program, we already mentioned it. Austin let the cat out of the bag. Alex Iwobi scored for Everton as they beat Wolves 2-1. A very beautiful goal. A good combination with Lucas Digne. And Coach Carlos Ancelotti has praised him, saying that the way they combined for that goal was very impressive. One Nigerian has entered in American Major League Soccer. He has been signed by Montreal Impact. His name is Sanusi Ibrahim. He played for 36 Lions, which is an amateur team in FCT here, and he used to play for 36 Lions, an amateur team in the FCT, and he was on trial with Watford for some time. We thought that Watford were going to actually sign him, but it's like Montreal Impact made a coup and they just snatched him from Watford. He has signed for Montreal Impact, and he signed a 3-year contract that will keep him there till about 2024, and so will be part of the team. He was part of the Nigerian under-23 team that did not qualify for the Olympic Games, and so he's somebody that's already in the frame of the national team selectors. We hope that this move will now make him will put him under consideration for the national team. He was leading scorer in the Nigerian Professional Football League in 2019 with 10 goals from 22 games he played for Nasarawa United. So very fine footballer. Finally, Paul Onuachu's performance in Belgium, which has seen him score 19 goals, topping the scorers chart in Belgium, is making him attract the big teams in Europe. Olympique Lyon, the French team, are said to be looking at Onuachu with the hope of signing him. So we knew that he was definitely going to get offers given his exploit, but then it remains to be seen how concrete some of these offers will be. So much about Super Eagles Watch and so much on the program Grand Sports Center for today. I want to thank you for being there with us. We'll be back same time, same station tomorrow, and we'll look forward to having you join us once again. Austin Arume, thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Blessing Bassi too.
Thank you.
I am Donald Agbavobo on behalf of all of us and the production crew who are doing a marvelous job behind the scene. Have yourself a lovely day ahead.